Three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of the Sideline Vision. I am your host, Ty Wellemeyer, not Nick Rampe. Yes, I, Ty Wellemeyer, am hosting this episode. I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Reece Leddy. Reece, how are you doing?
Feels empty but full at the same time.
Yeah, you may be asking, where's Nick Rampe? Where's Sam Dykes? Fortunately, Nick Rampe had to deal with some managing editor duties. He's just had a lot on his plate. It's a hard position. Sam Dykes woke up, had no voice, so you just got me and Reece today, folks.
Hey, you couldn't ask for anything better, honestly.
And we're doing the old setup. We have two handheld microphones. We just couldn't get access to the podcasting studio today. So we're working on maybe a little bit of a shoestring budget, a little bit of a skeleton crew, but we're still going to try and deliver you guys the best episode possible today. Break down Belmont sports. We did miss last week. Nick again had a lot on his plate. I got the sickness that's been going around the office. It's been a rough week for us. Let's just say that.
Hey, we're here. This is last week was a bye week, but we need to be back in business.
Yeah, we had to recharge for a bit. Let's just say that. We hope you all had an excellent fall break. If you're a student who's listening, if you're a parent who's listening, we appreciate the support anyway. But without further ado, let's just get into instant replay. I've been itching to talk some Belmont sports. Reece, kick us off with men's soccer.
So men's soccer had a pretty impressive outing with Louisville, who was ranked number 23 at the time in men's soccer. And they tied against Louisville. It was a scoreless game, 0-0, but a tie nonetheless to a ranked team.
We will take it.
Very great performance out of
We
our
will
Bruins.
take it.
But last Sunday, the Bruins got their first loss of the season, guys. They got their first loss of the season.
Unfortunate. You can't be undefeated forever. Can't be undefeated.
Can't be unbeaten, I would say. We had those five ties, but
Reece, that's a very good point. Undefeated versus unbeaten, which one is it? Who knows? But what's their record now, Reece?
record 6-1-5.
The area code of Nashville. If Nick Rampe were here, he would be losing his mind.
He'd be doing jumping jacks.
He'd be doing jumping jacks in the corner. He would be so unbelievably happy, so we had to mention it for Nick Rampe.
Well, then moving on to women's soccer, they lost to Evansville, 1-2. Olivia Walker scored the only goal of the match, and it is her third career goal. Their record now is 3-4-6, which is the area code of Houston, Texas.
Did you look that up?
Did some research, yeah.
For anyone in Houston, Texas who listens to this podcast, shout out to you.
To any of our Houston listeners.
Yeah, with women's soccer, lost to Evansville. I'm from Evansville, if no one knows. Women's soccer has never been Evansville's strong suit. Maybe they've had a good season. I feel like we're just spinning in circles with women's soccer. They're good. You can see the talent there. They just can't seem to get over that hurdle. Hopefully, because the MVC championships, I believe, are in about a month. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You want to have good momentum going into those conference championships. A loss to Evansville is probably not the way to do that. So hopefully turns around. And now I'm going to be talking about volleyball. This is usually Sam Dykes' bread and butter. Hopefully I do him justice. Volleyball went 1-1 on the weekend. They had a 3-0 loss to Illinois State and a 3-0 win against Indiana State. They actually avenged the loss of the Sycamores because when the Bruins traveled up to Indiana State, they lost, I believe it was 3-1. So not a very impressive performance there in Terre Haute. The Sycamores come down to Nashville. Belmont sweeps them. Brooke Gilliland on the weekend had 21 kills and 9 aces. They're currently 4-2 in conference play, which is good enough for third in the standings, so I would say this is a pretty successful stretch for Fritz Rosenberg.
Man, they've been pretty dominant, haven't they?
They've been, I believe their overall record is 13-4. So that's, compared to last year, and compared to the years that I've been here when I covered the team, night and day, Fritz Rosenberg, if we were to do, let's say, a Sideline Vision award show, he would be my early candidate for Coach of the Year. What he's done for this volleyball team is amazing. He's brought a culture of winning. They're so much fun to watch. Can't wait to see what happens when the MVC championships hit. Let's just say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to men's golf, they tied for fifth at the Scrappy at the Cobblestone at Kennesaw State.
That cannot be a real name for a turf. The Scrappy at the Cobblestone?
You're walking around the halls, you tied fifth, and you said, you know where I was? I was at the Scrappy at the Cobblestone.
What a name.
But hey, pretty impressive outing for our Bruins. Junior Chris Harpham was the highest finishing among the Bruins, with a 15th place finish among 223 participants. This is second top 20 finish of the fall.
To finish 15th out of 223 golfers, I mean that seems like a win. Let's just say that. So congrats to him. He's looked like he's having a pretty good fall so far. So we hope to see that continue in the next Invitational, but it will probably not have a good enough name as the Scrappy at the Cobblestone.
I think that wins name of the year.
And then let's focus on men's tennis. They did the ITA Regional Championships, the doubles pair of Charlie Robin and Will Eklund. They fell in the round of 16 to East Tennessee State. So, props to them for getting in the round of 16. That's pretty impressive. Unfortunately, it has to end. That's how tennis goes. Sometimes it's just not your best day, and unfortunately, East Tennessee State played better. Now, it's time for future focus, looking ahead to the next week, folks. Let's focus on volleyball. Friday, Reece, that is a big matchup for the conference standings. They travel to the great city of Valparaiso, Indiana, Reece. Can you locate Valparaiso on a map?
Northwest Indiana?
I think that might be right.
Okay.
I don't even know. That was supposed to be a joke, and you maybe knew where it was. So Valparaiso is currently 5-1. They are second in the conference. They have a 14-5 record. If Belmont can win that's massive. Saturday, Reece, they go to Chicago to face UIC. UIC is currently 3-3 in the Valley. Depending on how the Friday slate goes, UIC gets Murray State, who's the worst team in the Missouri Valley Conference. This could be a big game, a big match for Belmont in the standings as well, because if Belmont loses to Valparaiso, UIC beats Murray State. They're both 4-3. 4-3. You have potential tiebreakers for seeding. Let's say UIC does beat Belmont. UIC would have that tiebreaker. So this could be a pretty big weekend for the Bruins. It's going to be really interesting to see how Fritz Rosenberg gets his team ready for two big away games.
And moving on to let me just pull up my stats real quick.
Dude, you're good. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah, because I wanted to pull up their history and I didn't have that pulled up.
Dude, you're good. So Nick, I hope this is a riveting podcast to edit.
You know what, Nick? How are you doing today?
He's just listening. I'm doing so well. I'm so glad that someone asked how I'm doing.
It's like Blue's Clues. Whenever Steve would be like, "Hey,
we just got a letter.
We just got a letter." Wonder who it's from. Let's see here. I want to pull up Indiana State.
Dude, I had a brain fart. I was like, if they're both 3-3. They're both 3-3. What would happen? And I was like having a stroke. I was like they'd both be 4-3. Just having a stroke there for a second, trying to do basic math. Where were you when you had to look up who was playing in the Nassau Intercollegiate in Glen Cove, New York?
I was sitting in Ty Wellemeyer's room in Hewlett.
The greatest honor.
Yeah. All right, I think I'm ready.
Okay, you can do it whenever you want.
All right. Wait, hold on. I lied. There we go. All right. So going on future focus. First up is women's soccer. They face Indiana State Saturday, and Indiana State overall pretty all right record: 6 wins, 4 losses, 5 ties. It's a better record than what Belmont's got. It's gonna be a tough match for Belmont. They just haven't been lighting the world on fire. They haven't really been really showing they've got the matches to set anything on fire with the way they've played this season.
That maybe was the most poetic thing you've ever said. Dare I say. Like you said, Reece, Indiana State's got a good record. Belmont needs to find those matches. I'll use your analogy. Belmont needs to find that spark to set the fire. a win over a team with a winning record could be that spark. So very interesting looking towards Saturday, let's just say that.
Then moving on to men's soccer, they face Northern Illinois, who sits one spot above them in third in standings. If Belmont gets to win today, or not to win today, but if Belmont gets to win for the Northern Illinois game, that's a huge win. That will get them above Northern Illinois, and that will get them the third spot. So very big game coming up. But Northern Illinois sitting at a record right now of 5-3-3, which is a very close record to what Belmont has, and Belmont has a better record in terms of overall play. In conference play, Northern Illinois got them beat. But in terms of overall, I think Belmont has a really good chance of beating this team.
You would think, again, your first loss in conference play is never a great way to head into a match. But like you said, Reese, men's soccer's looked really good the whole season. It's going to be a fun game as well. I think we have a great weekend of soccer. Some big matches. And men's soccer, I think, can get the win too, like you said. So hopefully we actually see that happen. Now we're heading into the most fun section, the section that I cover, men's and women's cross country. We have a lot of excitement for this one. They're heading to Tuscaloosa, Alabama Friday for the Crimson Classic. And I wrote in my notes, it's the biggest thing to happen in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Forget Alabama versus Tennessee in the third Saturday in October. It is the Crimson Classic in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Cross country's been, I'd say, good. Not great, not setting the world on fire, but they've been consistently good. I could not find who was racing in the Crimson Classic. There was no information available. We can assume it's probably some SEC teams. If you can place in the teens, I think that's a win. Let's just say that. We then head to men's golf. This is Monday and Tuesday at the Nassau Intercollegiate, and let me find the name of it. Glen Cove, New York. Reece, Leddy, have you visited Glen Cove, New York ever?
No.
Could you find this one on a map?
Glen Cove? Anywhere above New York City.
Your guess is as good as mine.
That's probably it.
Your guess is as good as mine. This looks like a pretty small invitational. You have Belmont, Iona, Fairfield, Long Island, University of Rhode Island, Utah Valley randomly is sending people across the country for this, Army, Villanova. So I'd expect some Belmont people to finish pretty high, looking at how they've been doing so far. Women's golf, Monday and Tuesday at Evansville, Indiana at the Oak Meadow Country Club. Fun fact, I applied for a job there my freshman year of college, and they denied me. So who knows what happens there? I could not find anyone participating. We can only assume it's probably Evansville, USI, some of those local universities. And then heading to women's tennis. This starts on Thursday, which would be today. If you're listening to it by the time the episode comes out, would be tomorrow at time of recording. They are heading to the ITA Ohio Valley Regional Championships, which Reece, men's tennis has already participated in. Women's gets their chance to shine tomorrow, or today. And then we're going to kill it. So, we're doing the freestyle. Let's move into this. It's only the two of us, so we can probably talk about our topics a little bit longer. But, Reece, I know you're a big hockey guy. Talk about hockey. It's back.
I'm so happy that hockey's back. Every time, the thing about hockey is that there's always a game on throughout every week. Even if it's a team I hate, like the Florida Panthers, like at least I get something to watch every night. Not even NHL hockey, just college hockey's back too. I'm a big UNH Wildcats fan. For those of you who don't understand what that means, is the University of New Hampshire Wildcats. And so far, last season they didn't really have a big presence in the Hockey East Conference. They were kind of towards the bottom in the Hockey East division. But first game of the season, they face Nick Rampe's Michigan State, the number 2 team coming into the season, and UNH upsets them with a 4-3 finish with a last-second goal. What a great game. UNH, they lost the next game after that against Michigan State. But that doesn't matter. Does not matter.
You beat Michigan State, right?
Because you know what? Because you know how the rankings are right now? Is Michigan State no longer is sitting at number 2. They're sitting at number 3. And that one position drop is because of my Wildcats. And I love it.
Hearing you passionately speak about UNH's win over Michigan State makes me wish even more that Nick Rampe were here. Just to see his reaction as you take credit for knocking down Michigan State in the rankings. Hockey is a sport that I follow. I'm not a big fan of, like, per se, but playoff hockey is incredibly fun for me. I've been trying to get more into it. I think I might become a Utah Mammoth fan. I think that logo is insanely cool.
Utah Mammoth?
Yeah.
Man, you're going against the Ice Age rival here.
The Predators?
The Predators rival, yeah.
Man, something about that logo for the Mammoth is just, it makes me feel like, yeah. Yeah. But, Reece, who's your Stanley Cup pick?
Ooh. Stanley Cup pick? It's too early in the season to say. Let me check some of the standings, because there are some teams that are off to really poor starts. Like the Rangers have not scored a goal in Madison Square Garden yet, which is awesome.
What a random stat to pull off.
which is awesome. But if I were to go off early season predictions, I would probably say Avalanche is looking really good.
Yeah.
Golden Knights are looking really good. Oilers look good, but Stuart Skinner is Stuart Skinner, and that man can't stop a beach ball coming at him at the goal line. You know what? If I was gonna have to go with an overall team, I would probably say I think the Avalanche have a good shot at coming back and winning it.
You named 3 teams that feel like the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Of top teams in the conference. I'm just looking at the standings right now, Reece. I don't know that much about hockey, but I see a team, Reece, that's undefeated in the Eastern Conference Metropolitan Division. Give me, Reece Leddy, the Carolina Hurricanes, to win it all. I know nothing about this team, but they're undefeated right now. They have 15 goals already. I want that team in the Stanley Cup.
Well, let's see. I picked a team in the Western Conference, so let's see if we get a Canes Avalanche.
Finals. That would be pretty cool. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. If that happens, Reece, if we get a Hurricanes Avalanche Stanley Cup final,
that could feed families.
We have to do an episode where it's just us talking about it, and we do a watch party.
I would like that. I would like that very much. I know a team's not making it to the finals, and that is the Buffalo Sabres. So if you are a Buffalo Sabres fan, just wait till next year.
So for those of you who don't understand why he's saying that, the Buffalo Sabres are currently 0-3 with 2 goals, and they've given up 10. So I don't think there's hockey excellence happening up there in Buffalo, which is unfortunate because that city gets really behind that team because there's not a lot up there sports-wise, and the product has just been abysmal. Let's just shift to mine. Playoff baseball, Reece. Unfortunately, your Red Sox got knocked out. My Giants didn't even make the playoffs, so I'm not even want to speak. But I want to talk about the Seattle Mariners. Currently up 2-0 in the ALCS, 2 wins away from the World Series. Reece, the Mariners have never made the World Series. Never have made the World Series. I was on Reddit when they were up 2-0, and Mariners fans can't even believe it. They think deep down that there's some way that this team is going to blow a 2-0 lead.
You know, not to be that guy, because I also hate the Blue Jays, and I don't want an AL East team making it to the World Series, but my uncle is a huge Mariners fan, and the one thing I can get him every time is saying, "Hey, when's the last time your team's been to a World Series?"
You won't be able to use that joke.
And I won't be able to use that anymore.
You might not be able to use it. It's the funniest
comeback. So part of me doesn't want them to make it, but also let them at it.
Have you seen the John Boys documentary about the history of the Seattle Mariners?
No, I haven't.
Dude, watch it. It will make you a Mariners fan. He does such a great job breaking down about 50 years worth of pain and torture for a baseball organization. He tells stories about all the players. He humanizes the team. It is, in my opinion, probably the best documentary of all time, sports documentary. And to see Mariners fans crying when they beat the Tigers, again, if Nick Rampe were here, we would probably be clowning on him because the Mariners beat his Tigers. To see Mariners fans cry, it's kind of, to me, the same feeling of seeing Cubs fans cry when they won the World Series in 2016. Just so much anguish that just came out when your team finally won it. It'd be awesome. They have the pitching rotation to do it. They have 4 guys who are legitimately aces. I think we'll probably get Mariners-Dodgers in the World Series.
Which is unfortunate that we get the Dodgers in there.
Is what it is. That would be a fun World Series. The scrappy underdog who's never made it versus basically the richest team in baseball history.
David versus Goliath.
David versus Goliath. Everyone hates him. It's gonna be fun. And research just one topic that just popped in my head that I feel like we need to talk about. We need to address. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans fired their head coach, Brian Callahan. How do you feel about that?
I think it's awesome because the Patriots play them next week, and they got Mike McCoy as their head coach. So I think Vrabel's going to have a wonderful revenge game in Nashville, Tennessee. But I also think it was the right move. I mean, you're calling bubble screen passes at 3rd and 12, and you've got Cam Ward, who you were saying, you want to let him loose, you want to let him fire that thing, but you're doing it behind the line of scrimmage. And they just had such a boring, predictable offense. I just don't know how that came to be. I mean, he was with Joe Burrow when they were kind of lighting it up for a little bit, but I think it was the right move for the Titans.
The thing that got me was you hire Brian Callahan to fix an offense that had gone stagnant. Because, he did magic with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Dare I say the Titans offense got worse under Brian Callahan? I think it got worse.
I think it.
Will Levis was an embarrassment last year. They got drafted Cam Ward, and Cam Ward has looked bad. I mean, he's had flashes of brilliance, but then there are times you're like, there's no way this is the number 1 pick in the draft. And I don't know if it's him personally or just the team around him is so bad that it's weighing him down. But I don't know. It needed to be done. I think it just shows organizational disarray, though, when you fire a coach and then you don't name an interim for about 5 hours, which there are rumors from Paul Kaharski, who actually teaches at Belmont, that they fired Brian Callahan and didn't have an interim in mind, which is just crazy to think about. It feels very spur of the moment. Who knows? But especially if the Patriots come in to Nissan and just kill the Titans, it's going to be even more of an embarrassment because they fired Mike Vrabel.
By the way, he got like AP Coach of the Year in like 2021, and they fired him.
Dude, he did magic with them. He made them the number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, and you fired him.
Yeah, you know how many coaches has been able to do that? No one else.
Not a lot. Not a lot. But I have a feeling that Cam Ward is going to become like a cautionary tale. Because did you see the stat that like every number 1 pick quarterback since 2021 has had their coach fired in the first season?
No, but that's crazy.
Cam Ward had Brian Callahan get fired. 2024 was Caleb Williams. Matt Eberflus got fired because he botched the Thanksgiving game where he didn't call the timeouts. 2023 was Bryce Young, and he got Frank Reich fired. 2022, we didn't have a quarterback drafted. It was Trevon Walker. 2021 was Trevor Lawrence, and that was the Urban Meyer fiasco.
Wow.
So Joe Burrow is the last number 1 pick to not have his quarterback, like his coach, fired in the first year.
Wow. Which is crazy because, I mean, I feel like
Zach Taylor, my stepdad's a Bengals fan, has been praying for Zach Taylor to be fired for like the past 3 seasons. So, who knows? It's going to be really interesting to watch what happens with the Titans. They might go 1-16. Who knows?
It's still crazy they won that Cardinals game. That was a game they should not have won, by the way.
They should not have won. But they did. They
did. Because Demercado just decided to drop the ball at the 1. Why are we still doing that in football, by the way?
We could have a whole conversation about that in itself. Why are you dropping the ball before scoring? But we will not drop the ball with the sideline vision. Let's just say that. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Hopefully the Skeleton Crew, we provided a good show for you. We tried our best with what we had. Until next week, I'm Ty Wellemeyer, joined by Reece Leddy. Thank you guys for listening, and have a good week.